Well, hoji hiji hiji, how do you do? I'm Suzanne from Making It in Maine, and I am here with some updates, some progress. No finishes yet, but I'm mighty close to at least one. So I got all of my, I like calling them posies. I don't know why. My brain just wants to call them posies. What are they? Yo-yos, yes. I got all of my yo-yos sewed on to my little pink and brown basket quilt. And I can't tell you how many yo-yos I auditioned trying to get the right color, something that wasn't too dark, something that worked. And some were too light, some were too tan and not enough brown. Crazy. So there's a collection of a whole bunch of trials that didn't fit the bill for me. And when I was sewing these yo-yos on, I discovered something that made me want to cry. I'll put some video of that in here. I'm not sure what happened to the video I took explaining the issue with this particular basket block, but when I was sewing the posies on, I discovered the edge of the pink was barely attached to the off-white triangle below the basket. I'm not quite sure how that escaped me, but it certainly had to be fixed. I'm going to attempt to tear out as little as possible. I'm hoping I don't have to rip the whole block out of here. Just going to try to do this area here and replace this bugger. And without further ado, let me show you how it looks with the yo-yos on. I have yet to do any quilting on it, just got the yo-yos done. So there it is. I'm thrilled to have the yo-yos done. I don't enjoy making them. As I am editing this video, looking at the yo-yos / posies, I'm thinking some of those brown ones look enormous. Well, actually, a few of the pink ones too. I am wishing that I had made them smaller. Will I rip them off and redo them? Whew, time will tell. Stay tuned for that one. Some of them are on the dark side, the brown ones, but I'm going with it. I haven't chosen my binding fabric yet, but I'm going to be choosing a dark brown. Any hooty doo, there it is. Yippee skippy. I will be very happy when this little baby is completely done. All bound, all quilted, done. Period at the end of the sentence. My other progress, the one that's going to be a finish the next time I do a video. I finished hand quilting this little baby last night. I have yet to trim away the excess, but I am just now getting ready to audition border fabric, and I was initially thinking that I would use this print, which is in some of the logs, but so let me just put that here to show you. So that's what I was initially thinking of. But then, pardon me, this morning I was looking through my Jo Morton fabric and really found the perfect border fabric. So this is going to be it. It has the very deep purple in these logs, and it also has some of the red and some of the gold tones. So I think that is going to be my border fabric. I want to start sewing my binding on this little quilt, and with my Janome, I could move my needle, into the position that I want it to be. But on this, with this brother, I can move the needle, and that's ultimately where I would like it to be, because it's more of a 1/4 of an inch away, whereas when it's in the center, it's a 1/2 an inch away. However, the machine will not let me sew with this walking foot on when the needle position is to the right. So I will have to take the walking foot off and just sew the binding on with my regular foot. In case you are new to attaching a binding to a quilt, you sew the right side of the binding to the right side of your quilt top, and then stitch along. And when you come to a corner, I'm using roughly, I say roughly, a 1/4 inch seam. Let's just see. Yes, pretty much a 1/4 inch seam. And you stop a 1/4 inch away from your corner. Then you, oops, sorry for the jiggle. Then you fold your binding strip up so that you have a, so that this is perpendicular. Your right side up is perpendicular to the edge here, if that makes sense. And you're lining up the edge of the binding here with the edge of your quilt. Then you fold it down so that the top edge of your fold meets the top edge of your corner. And as I said, it's running parallel to the side of your quilt edge. And I'm going to open that little joint. I join my binding strips on the diagonals. All right, and then you go to press your foot and needle and align it and drop the needle. And I'm going to take a few back stitches, and then we proceed down along the edge of the quilt. And I'm going to be stopping fairly soon because where I began is right here. So I will need to leave enough distance between the two. Here is my favorite way to join ends of a binding strip. So you bring one piece over, and then this piece you want to overlap this piece by the width of your binding strip. So mine is 1 1/4. So, and I'm going to just gently give it a gentle tug. And then I'm going to mark. Here is my, let me just expose the edge here a little bit. So I'm going over from that cut edge underneath 1 1/4 inches, and I will mark that with my pen. Let me do this end. Okay, and now I will just draw a line the whole distance. So here we are. There's 1 1/4 inches overhang. I didn't want to cut this off until I was absolutely sure, because it's been a while since I've put a binding on. I feel like I always need to refresh my memory. I originally had these pieces reversed and sewed in this direction, which was wrong. So then because it ended up being twisted. This was this way and this was this way. Anyway, course corrected, sewed it the right direction, and now I can cut off the excess 1/4 inch away, and then I can finish sewing the rest of the binding. I got my binding attached today. I haven't sewn it onto the back yet, but that is what the binding is going to look like. I think it was a good choice. What do you think? Should I have gone with this fabric and done a golden border, or do you like the choice I made? Let me know in the comments if you'd like. I enjoy reading your comments. So there it is, and I decided to hand quilt around the stars too. I just did in the ditch around all the logs. And I've got a few rat's nests from where I did where I attached the binding. So let me just trim away. But here's how the back looks. Yeah, I decided I was debating whether or not to do hanging sleeves, and I opted not to. Maybe maybe because I just wanted to get it done, but I can always add them later. I've done that plenty of times, so yeah, almost done. Yippee! Happy about both of those. And let me just get this out of the way. What else can I report? I have sewn two rows together for my Alaska quilt, my laundry baskets pattern, Alaska, with dahlia fabric. And so there's two sewn together there. And let me just, I'm babying my ankle. Oh, let me report. And was elated when he told me I don't have to have surgery. He talked about the pros and cons of surgery versus not having surgery, and the cons for having the surgery did not make my heart go pitter-patter. I've never had surgery before. I don't ever want surgery. And he felt that it can heal probably quite nicely if I just wear the boot, and then in a month start some physical therapy. I ordered yesterday a smaller walking boot, an extra small, because my foot is only a size 6 and I am only 5 feet tall, maybe a little less by now, but I think that one will feel less like a death trap. After the appointment yesterday, we stopped at Whole Foods. My husband dropped me at the door. I had the walking boot on, and I walked to grab a little shopping cart that was outside, thinking, oh, that'll lend me a little support. And I don't know what happened, but somehow my leg got wrenched and ooh la la, hurt my ankle. Really hurt, and today it's a little more swollen. So much for those walking boots. I maintain that they are a death trap, and they cause sometimes more harm than they do good. So I am not wearing that again until my smaller walking boot arrives. Hopefully in 2 or 3 days. All right, back to the the Alaska quilt with dahlia fabric. I have sewn more blocks together, and I have just pinned the rows together for now, but 2 more rows of blocks have been sewn together, and these 2 rows are pinned. I just have to sew the row. So that's 4. And yeah, now that I'm well along with the Jo Morton little stars in the log cabins quilt, that's what I'm calling it right in this moment, and my little yo-yos in the basket quilt, I can do more on this, which is kind of exciting to get that moving forward. What else? this. Ouch, just got pinned. I haven't done any more on these two quilts because I've been occupied with the other projects. So just a quick pop in today, and I'll be back hopefully in the not too distant future with a finish and more progress. So until then, dear ones, I'm Suzanne from Making It in Maine. I'm very happy you're here, whether you are returning or if you're a newbie to my channel. I'm happy you're here. And yes, so from my heart to yours, dear ones, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.